You can solve it after the lecture. So today we are going to start with unit number 4, that is inheritance. So in this topic, we'll cover what are different types of inheritance, then the base class and derived class concept, access specifiers, that is public, private, protected and default, and the concept of runtime polymorphism method overriding. In unit number 1 and 2, we have introduced you with this term inheritance. Inheritance, as you know, it is an important pillar of object oriented programming. Object oriented programming stands on four main pillars: encapsulation, abstraction, polymorphism, and inheritance. Inheritance is one of the important pillar of object oriented programming. It is a mechanism by which one class is allowed to inherit features. Features means methods as well as fields of another class. So if you have a class ready with you and you want to enhance it or add some more functionalities to it, you can create another class which can reuse the previously created class with the help of inheritance. So inheritance, a general class can be created that defines traits common to all set of atoms. So how you can look at the inheritance is, first create a general class which is applicable to different types of classes. For example, vehicle. Vehicle is a very general term and you can create a specific vehicle class like car or two-wheeler or bus, which are inherited from vehicle class. So this general class can be inherited by other more specific classes, each adding those things that are unique to it. So the parent class is called superclass or base class. So this is a superclass. First you need to create a superclass, and you can create a subclass or child class using superclass. The keyword is extends. You have to write class sub whatever the name of your class is, extends super. Super is name of your parent class. Different types of inheritance. Single inheritance. In this case, we have only one parent and one child, one superclass and one subclass. Hierarchical. It is a tree-like structure. A parent can derive multiple inherited classes, that is subclasses, and every subclass will then inherit another subclasses. So that is a hierarchy. Multi-level, one parent, one child, again that child can inherit another child. So a multi-level inheritance. Hybrid inheritance is a combination of all these types of inheritance, any combination of this type of inheritance. And multiple inheritance means more than one parent to a child. A child can get properties of more than one parent. So this is the figure of different types of inheritance. Single inheritance, one superclass, one subclass. Subclass extends superclass. Then hierarchical, we have superclass which can have more than one child classes or subclasses. Multi-level, superclass, then subclass 1, subclass 2, etc. Multiple levels. Hybrid is any combination of all these. And this is multiple inheritance. One child can have multiple parents. So on a basis of class, there can be three types of inheritance in Java. Java supports these three types: single level, multi-level and hierarchical, and then hybrid. Hybrid is combination of all. Multiple inheritance is not supported in Java directly. It is supported with the help of interface only. So in general, you can look at the type of inheritance in Java with the inheritance concept. So inheritance, you can assume that it's a super class and there are three classes, subclasses of inheritance: single level, multiple and hybrid. Single inheritance can again extend it to multi-level and hierarchical. So if you look at this figure, this branch is nothing but a single level inheritance, single inheritance. And then here in multi-level, this is single inheritance, this is single inheritance. So hierarchical and multi-level, these are derived from single level inheritance. So let's start with inheritance concept. I'll explain you with one example. So we'll take very general example. We'll create a hierarchy of person and employee. Okay. So class person. What should be the properties of person class?
Name,
Name and
age,
okay,
age.
name and age. I have to select Java here. We'll take only name and age. Class person, age is integer, and name is string. And we'll define a constructor which will initialize name and age. Age is equal to a and equal to n. And then I'll write a display function which will display name and age of a person. You can write accept function to accept name and age from user. Name and age. So our class is ready, person class is ready with two variables, name and age. We can create object of person class and check whether it is working properly or not. So here, how to create object, person say Ria is equal to new person, person P1, I will take this name, P1 is equal to new person and pass age as say 20 and name as Ria. And we can display this information with display function. So this is a class is ready and you can create object of that class and call the functions of this class. I'm using visualizer because I want to explain you how these variables get defined in child class. Now here we are not used any child class yet. We have just used a single class person and in another class we created object of that person. So it is like normal class. Object P1 gets created with two variables, name and age. Age is initialized with 10, name is initialized with Ria. And P1 will display these values. So it will display name is Ria and age is 10. Here I can create any number of objects of person, P1, P2, P3, P4 and initialize it with different age and name. Now suppose I want to extend this class person to create employee class. So here I need one more class. Class employee extends. This is the keyword used to inherit a class from superclass. So in this case, person is my superclass and employee is my child class or subclass. I want to extend person class to create employee class. So what should an employee should have other than name and age?
Employee ID and employee salary.
Okay, we'll consider ID and salary, these two fields. Integer employee ID and say double salary. And I'll create a constructor here which will initialize ID and salary. And what can be the function of employee other than display? Here I'm displaying I can display name, age, and employee ID and salary because it will inherit the variables and functions from person class. Employee ID and salary. Employee ID is EID and salary is salary. We need to calculate salary from the user. Suppose user has entered, this is the, we can compute salary with the help of, suppose this is basic, we need to add some perks or other allowances and calculate, we can calculate actual salary and we can display salary slip. We can write one more function, calculate salary or display salary slip. The salary is equal to, this is salary and I will take one more field, basic. Basic is minimum salary. So this, whatever the salary user has entered, that is basic, and from basic we can calculate actual salary. Salary is equal to basic multiplied by, sorry, added with 50% of basic. This is just a simple, I want to tell you we can add different functions to a class. So this is our normal class, employee, which is extending a person class. It has employee ID, salary, and basic salary. We accept employee ID and basic salary from user, and we are displaying actual salary, employee ID, age, and name. We have a function to calculate salary. Now here, instead of creating object of a person class, so this is object of person class, I'll delete this. Now here I'm creating object of employee class. So how to create object of employee class? Employee, say E1 is equal to new employee. And we have to pass employee ID and salary. Employee ID is say 182 and salary is say 80,000. Sorry, we have to pass basic salary, say 40,000. And then E1 dot display. And sorry, first I have to call calculate function, calculate salary, and then display function, E1 dot display. Can you see we have two display functions here? Display function here in employee class and display function here in class person. So this is clear what I have done till now. I have a class person with a constructor person and function display with two variables age and name. We have created object of person and check whether it is fine. Yes, it was working fine. Then we want to create employee class, so we thought that using person class. So we have extended class employee from person. Here I have not defined name and age. A person employee should also have name and age, but here we defined employee ID, salary and basic salary. We are using one constructor, again display function to display all the details, and calculate salary function to calculate salary of an employee. Now here I have created object of employee class. I called calculate salary function and display function, and we'll check how it will work, or it will work or not. Constructor person cannot be applied to given types. Okay.
And here we have not given the input or like name and age for
Yeah.
class.
Here we are printing name and age, but for employee, we have not created a name and age. What I'll do is,
Ma'am, but we need to pass the arguments, right? For
we have to
name and
pass
age.
this,
In the
uh,
child class too.
we have to pass these arguments for name and age. I want to show you that error only because here name and age is available for employee. Age is equal to A and name is equal to. Note that these age and name, these variables are not part of employee class, but as they are part of person class, these variables automatically gets inherited in employee class, and we need to initialize these variables. That's why we are getting the error. So in a constructor, I'm passing the parameter for age as well as name. Or here what we can do is we can call super. Super means calling a base class constructor. Here we pass, instead of doing these two assignments here, super will call super class constructor. That means this constructor with age and name, and it will assign it to age and name. Okay, here I have to pass age is say 25 and name is Priya. In this constructor, I have used 4 parameters. So when I create an object, I have to pass those 4 parameters. Okay, look here. We are creating object of employee class. Employee E1 is equal to new employee. So you can see here for employee object, there are 4 variables: name, age, salary, and ID. These 4 parameters we passed from our constructor. So ID is 182. This is salary. This is small a, and this is name. for this constructor. Employee constructor is getting called. Now from employee constructor, we are calling a super constructor, super a comma n. Super keyword is used to call base class constructor. So it will call base class constructor. You can see the arrow is moving towards person constructor, and a will be assigned to age, and name, that is nm, will be assigned to name. So note that here we use a formal parameter. This a will be passed as a here. Here we use nm. This nm is used as a small n here. So a and n, these are again two formal parameters. So Priya is copied here, 25 is copied here, and that will be get copied into employee instance for employee object. Employee object has EID, salary, basic, age, and name. It is similar to like these variables are defined in that class itself. You can see these variables are not defined anywhere else. These are the part of that particular object. So now age will be initialized with 25 here. You can see age is get initialized with 25, and name, which is currently null, will be initialized with Priya. Then rest of the constructor, again it will continue from line number 26. Employee ID will be initialized with 182. Salary is 40. That is basic salary. Salary is not calculated yet. Then we are calling e1.calculate salary. So calculate salary function will be called. It will add basic plus basic into 50%. That is 50% of 40,000 is 20,000 plus 40,000. So total salary is 60,000. And now we are calling display function. Note that we are calling e1.disp. So e1.disp function will call display function for e1 object. So this display function will execute, and it will print name, age, employee, and salary. Okay. Now suppose my question is, if I comment this display function, will my program work? If I comment this display function, will my program work? It should give error here, e1.display. Display function is not available for employee class. But still program is working. Why?
We have a person class which also includes a display function.
So as we have going through the concepts of inheritance, here employee class is inherited from person class. So it can access elements of all elements of person class, that is name, age, these two variables, as well as all the functions, the constructor as well as function. So if I execute this code here, e1.display, it will check whether employee class has display function. No, but employee is extending person, then it will search in a person class, is there a display function? Yes. So it will display this function, this display function. Object is getting created. It has created object and displayed name and age. It has displayed this function. We'll do it step by step. So this is called method overriding. You can see here method void display, and this void display, same signature. Number of parameters, type of parameters, return time, everything is same. If you didn't provide this display function, still your program will work because parent class has display function. What else you can do is we can use here super keyword. To avoid, I have already these two statements, system.out.println id and salary in name and age in person class. To avoid this name and age again duplication here, what you can do is you can use super keyword, super dot. From super keyword we can call constructor of base class, or we can call method of a base class, or we can use variables of a base class. So this note that super keyword should come at the first line of your constructor or your uh, method. So here super dot display, it will call display method of parent class, this one. It will display name and age, and then it will display employee ID and salary. Now in this case we just have two lines. You will wonder why to call super keyword instead of just writing two lines, system.out.println. But assume that you have a complete different function, and instead of writing all the logic again, just use a single line super dot and call that function, and it will just control will go here, perform that function and come back to the your original function. So again we can check. This is an example of single level inheritance. So your constructor is getting called with super keyword. It has initialized name and age, name with 25 and Priya, and then remaining values, employee ID and basic salary. Then we have called E1 dot calculate salary. Calculate salary is getting called calculated here. So that is 60,000, salary will be updated. And then we call display function with E1. Now E1 dot display, in display function it is super dot display. So control will go to the super class display function, name and age. It will display name and age, and then remaining two lines, that is employee ID and salary. You'll get the same output. Output will not change, but what changes, you're making more and more reuse of previously created code. So here we use single level inheritance. Then we have used concept of super keyword to call base class constructor as well as base class method. Can it be?
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, here in the 16th means the code at the start. Here we are calling super and then display function.
Hmm. Yes.
But if the function has parameters, then we have to pass that parameters
Hmm.
at the 23rd line with employee or with that display itself.
All. For example, if you have same function with note that this display function and this display function, they are method overriding. It's overriding. The signature is exactly same. Number of parameters that you pass to this display function will be same as the parameters that you pass for this display function. So number of parameters and sequence of those parameters should match. Here we have not passed any parameter, but for example here in this is a constructor which has two parameters. So when I'm calling a super keyword, I have to pass these two parameters. So for example, outer display may have more than one parameter, but if this display should match with super dot display.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, one more thing. Suppose here I want one more display function, integer display with say some integer ID, integer number. I want to display only that person whose ID is equal to n. So just tell me whether it is method overloading or overriding.
Method overloading.
So this is method overloading because it is in the same class with different parameter list. And we have one more class which will inherit an employee class. Just think of that. We'll first see what is the theory part we have covered till this time. So for single inheritance example, we have taken example of person and employee. So person class is called base class, super class or parent class. And child class is called child class, subclass or derived class. And another class. So total here we have three classes: super class, subclass, and a class which is going to use this hierarchy. So here we have created object of derived class, class B, and called you can call method of A class as well as method of class B. So class A has method A, which is saying it is a base class method. Class B has method A. Sorry, class B has method B, which is saying I'm a child class method. And from object B, you can call parent class method as well as child class method. So child class is able to access parent class method as well as this method. Is it clear? Single inheritance. In case of hierarchical or in case of hierarchical inheritance, class A has two subclasses, class B which extends A and class C which extends A. So class A, so this is hierarchical means one parent class A, and one child is B and another child is C. So class A is parent, it's saying base class method. Class B is child class method of class B, and this is method of class C. So here we can create object of class A, B, and C. Class D is also extending A. So there are three children of class A. Class A is main class, base class, and it has three children, B, C, and D. We can create object of class B, object of class C, object of class D, and we can call method A. All these classes are able to access method A, but object of class B cannot access method of class C or D. We can use this in our hierarchy. Employee is a person. Similarly, a student is also a person. So we can create a class student. Class student extends person. So now our person is a base class which has two child classes. One is employee, another is student. Now what student should have? Integer roll number and double percentage. Then we can have a student class constructor. Similar to employee, student class constructor can call super using super keyword for name and age. Student also has name and age. So integer name, integer age, then integer roll number, and integer percentage. Sorry, not integer, it's a double. And we'll call super constructor super age and name. This sequence should match with person class, age and name. And for student class, roll number we have to initialize with R, and percentage we have to initialize with P. And what shall be the method for student class? Here I am again using display method, overloaded method, display or readn method. It will display mark sheet of a student, name, age, roll number and percentage. It will call display method for displaying name and age and roll number and percentage, and we can also display grade. Depending upon the percentage, we can display grade. Or class, first class, second class, etc. We can define one more variable, string class. Now note that class is a keyword, so I cannot use that. And we need a function to calculate grade. So in person we have calculate salary. Here we have calculate grade function. How to calculate grade? If percentage is greater than or equal to 60, we can say grade is equal to first class. I'll just write here 2 grades. You can then modify it to whatever you want. Second class. So similarly, you can write if percentage is less than equal to 50, then second class, then 40, pass class, else fail. So this is a student class which has integer roll number, double float and double percentage and string grade. It is you calling a constructor, base class constructor for name and age. Display function will display name, age, roll number, percentage and class. Calculate grade will calculate grade for each student. So instead of employee here, okay, employee is there. We can create object of student class. Student S1 is equal to new student. What is the sequence here? I have to pass name, age, then roll number and percentage. Name is say Sia. It's age, right? Name, string name. Age, say 19. Then roll number and percentage. So roll number say 30 and percentage say 75 or 7, okay, 75.5. I have to give in double, that's why 75.5. And then you can call method of student class. First calculate grade and display. So I'll skip this employee class. So employee class we have done. It is calculated and calculated salary and displayed salary for employee. See here, name Priya, age, employee ID, and salary calculated and displayed. Now we have created a student class using person class. So this is object of student class. Object is getting initialized for student. Note that for student instance, for student object, these are variables: roll number, percentage, grade, and age and name, which is inherited from person class. So name is Sia, age is 19, roll number is 30, percentage is 75.5. Then we'll call calculate grade function for student class. It will check, yes, it is 75 and above, 60 and above. So grade is first class. So grade is first class, and we can display s1 dot display will call display function of student class. This is display function of student class, but from here we have called display function of parent class, that is person, with super dot display. So it is first displaying name and age, that is Sia and age 19, and then it will display roll number, percentage, and class. Roll number 30, percentage, and class. Just note that what I want to emphasize is display function is very general display function of a person class, just displaying name and age. In case of employee, you can say this display function is nothing but displaying salary slip of a function, employee class. It is more specific to that employee class. And this display function in case of student, it is displaying a mark sheet, name, roll number, then percentage, age, class, etc. So method implementation is different even if signature is same. So that is a polymorphism. Student class display function is displaying student result, and employee class display function is displaying employee salary slip. Are you getting? If this display function is absent here, which display function it will call? Parent class, that is this one. System.out.println name and age. That's it. It will not display the roll number, class, and percentage. It will just display name and age if you comment this part, display function. And note that here we can create object of person. Object of person will still exist. Here you can create a normal object of a person class, new person. Normally where students get confused is if I create object of a person class, person has age and name. So age say 30 and name say Nia. So if I create object of a person class, this is another object, a different entity with age 30 and name Mia. It has nothing to do with your employee or student. Note that this age and this name is different. When you create person employee or object of employee class, only variables get inherited, not their values. Only this variable age and name, which is defined in person class, will be copied here as it is, as these variables are the variables defined for this class. Why here we use extends keyword. That's why here by default there is integer age and string name in employee class as well as student class, but these values which we pass to person will not get copied in employee class or in student class. These values means it is only specific to this object P1. The value name and age is only for this object E1, or Sia and 19 is specific to this object S1. So values are not getting inherited. What gets inherited is only the variable names and the functions. All these objects of a parent class can call methods, all the methods, not only one method. Here we have just a method A. That's why we can call method A from all the child classes of that particular parent class. So child class of one parent can be parent of another child, forming a class hierarchy. Here is an example of hierarchical inheritance. Animal class. Then we can have different types of animals, reptiles, birds, mammals. Then the reptile class, there can be snakes and lizards. Then birds can be parrots, sparrows, etc. Mammals can be horse, bat, tiger. At the top of hierarchy, there is a default class object. We have seen in the second chapter itself. All classes in Java gets inherited from a base class, which is object class. Multi-level inheritance. Here, a parent, then a child, then another child. I'll create this link and share it with you. You can play with this. Okay. When you click on this link, you will get this code and you can play with this code. You can just execute it, copy it, and check on your editor whether it is working or not. You can create one more class and check how it will work. So here I'll add in unit 4. Inheritance example CRL. So here, if you click on this link, you will able to see this Python code, Java code, and you can visualize the execution, or you can copy and save it as your class name here, whatever the class name is, .java, and you can run at your editor. I'll just save this code because now we are going to see multi-level inheritance. So instead of person and employee class, I'll just use class A, B, and C. So let's say class A is parent class. Then class B, which extends A, child class, and we have one more child class. It should be small. Class C extends B, not A. If it extends A, then it will be an hierarchical inheritance. If it extends B, that means it's a multi-level inheritance. So in this class, I'll create a constructor. Here I'll just write system.out.println. Class A constructor, or sorry, constructor of class A. And a method, say void method of class A. So class A has a constructor and method. Method of class A. Then we'll create constructor and method for class B. constructor and method for class B. And we'll create method and constructor for class C. So we have three classes here: class A, which is a super class; class A, class B extends class A, and class C extends class B. Each class will have one constructor and its method. In main class, we'll create objects of these classes. Suppose we create object of class C. How to create object of class C? C, small c, suppose C1 is equal to new class new C. And C1 dot, which method it can call? Can it call a method of class A? C1 can call method of class B, and C1 can call its own method. Are you there? So here I have created three classes, A, B, and C. Each class is having its own constructor and method. Method A for class A, method B is for class B, and method C is for class C. Now in main class, I have just created object of class C, the super child class. Object of class C, C1 is equal to new C. And C1 can access method of class A as well as class B, because class B can access method of class A. So C can access method of class B as well as method of class A. So from C1, that object of child class can call method of a super parent class, then parent class and its own method. And here we are calling a constructor of class C. So it should display constructor of class C. Let's see what it displays. Please carefully look at this example. This is very important. So here control is at line number 44. You're creating object of class C. So class C, here new C. So this is getting called. So it will call class C constructor. So you are at line number 28 and constructor is getting executed. But before executing this constructor, compiler checks that it extends B. So first, then the control will go to B's constructor. So B's constructor will get executed, but before that, B extends A. So it will call class A's constructor. Note that here we have not used super keyword. It is automatically compiler calls default constructor of base class and then child class. So this is class C, this is for class B, and this is for class A. So your first constructor will get executed is of base class, that is class A. So it will display constructor of class A. Then control will return to the class B's constructor. It will display constructor of class B, and then it will display constructor of class C. And all these three constructors are executed for this a single line when you call create an object of base class, derived class. For this single line, it has called constructor of class C constructor called constructor of class B called constructor of class A. And the sequence of execution is A class constructor is executed first, then B, and then C. And now C1 is calling method A. Method A is accessible from class C. it will display I am a method of class A. Then you are calling method of class B and method of class C. This is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
What you can do is, in this example of person and employee, try to add one more class. Here we have created a hierarchy: person, extends employee extends person, and student extends person. We have implemented a hierarchical inheritance. Now under employee, you can create one more class, say college teacher or a professor, who extends employee. So professor is employee as well as a person, right? So you can try to implement multi-level inheritance with this hierarchy. You can remove student class and just keep person class, employee class, and professor. Professor extends employee, and try to add specific things related to professor. For example, subject, expertise or highest degree, etc., or number of publications, and check. We'll stop here. In next lecture, we'll continue with inheritance. Basically, in next lecture, we are going to see what are access specifiers.